Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Michelle.
And for those of you that are new here, welcome to our channel. My name is Jessie and we are Moms on Crime. So in this channel, we talk about everything paranormal and true crime. So today, Michelle has a paranormal or a creepy story for us. So what are we talking about today, Mama?
Today is paranormal. I'm going to talk about probably one of my favorite subjects in the whole wide world today, which is UFOs and aliens. I've had a weird obsession since I was a kid with aliens. I don't know what it is. I had like alien posters in my room when I was like preteen, teenager, you know. I used to have like alien shirts. I don't know what it is, and I've always wanted to see a UFO. I don't want to get abducted. I don't want that. But I want to see one so bad. So one of these stories that I'm going to talk about, I missed it, and I was so sad that I missed it. I always look in the sky at night, like look around, because I really want to see one so bad in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So before I get started, I'm going to say please just go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Before I jump into the story, Jessie, do you believe in UFOs and aliens?
I do. I believe in them. I think there's something out there. Either they're really aliens or just ghosts or demons or whatever messing with us.
Whoa, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, but I do believe it. Sometimes I go in the backyard too and just look up the sky and, you know, see, maybe, who knows, maybe I'll find something like a UFO or some aliens. So
one day.
Hopefully, but like you said, hopefully not get abducted, but just to witness them.
Yeah, I just want to see one. I don't want to go with them. I just want to see one. I don't want to get abducted. All right, Mama, the first story I'm going to tell you about is about a guy named Travis Walton. Have you ever heard that name?
It sounds familiar.
So Travis Walton was involved in a very famous incident in Arizona where he claimed to have been abducted by aliens. So this took place November 5th, 1975. This story, I believe him. I think it's very credible because there was witnesses, and it's just a bizarre story. So November 5th, 1975, Travis Walton was with a crew of 6 other men. They worked for the National Forestry Service. They were up in northern Arizona, so they were in Snowflake. This is about 3 hours northeast of Phoenix. They were up there working, and it was in the evening. They were all in a truck together. They came upon a large spacecraft that was emitting like this high buzzing sound, and it was about 110 feet away from them. The men were curious. They got out of their truck, and Travis Walton went towards it. And all men described the same thing, a saucer-shaped aircraft that had lights on it, and it was making a buzzing sound, and a light, all men claim, a light shot out from it and abducted Travis. He was gone. The other men freaked out, jumped in the truck, and took off. And they didn't want to seem crazy. They didn't want to tell anybody what they saw. They just said that they didn't know what happened to him, that he disappeared. So Travis Walton was missing for 5 days. He was nowhere to be found for 5 days.
So his friends just kept quiet for 5 days? They just said, oh, he disappeared, we don't know what happened?
They said he was missing. And police started actually investigating it as a homicide. They thought that the other men had killed him. So, okay, so that to me is my first clue that they're not lying. Because, okay, fine, you're going along with a hoax or a prank, right? The second you tell me that you think I killed somebody is the exact moment that I'm going to be like, oh, no, okay, we're just kidding. We were going to lie and say there was this UFO, right?
Yeah.
None of them did that. None of them. They all, eventually, once Travis Walton was found, 5 days later, he was walking along the highway up in northern Arizona, and he was picked up. And he started to tell this story that a beam of light came out, and suddenly he appeared inside a craft, and he was going in and out of consciousness, and he said there was 3 short, bald creatures, and he was trying to fight them off. And he said there was also creatures that appeared human-like. He said they looked like humans and they had helmets on, white helmets. And he said they put a mask over him and he blacked out. And he remembers nothing else until he found himself walking along the highway 5 days later. And he says he saw the saucer taking off in the air when he came to walking on the highway. So all men were given a polygraph test, and everybody passed except for one, which came back inconclusive. So
one of the friends, or?
Yeah, all the men that were working on that forestry crew, they were all given polygraph tests along with Travis Walton. They all passed except for one that was inconclusive. But Travis Walton passed his polygraph test.
Okay.
So I think that I believe this story. Where was he for 5 days? Where did he go for 5 days? Was he hiding in Arizona? And if you knew that the police were investigating you for murder, the other guys, right? Wouldn't you say like, no, I'm just kidding. We were kidding. We were trying to pull off this hoax. He's hiding in a hotel room, right? I would have.
Right. So were they arrested or something?
What's that?
Like when the cops thought it was murder or something, were the friends arrested? Did they get arrested?
They just questioned them. They kept questioning them. And eventually they all went with the story. Like, okay, yeah, we were driving. We saw a spacecraft. We saw an aircraft of some kind that we've never seen before, and it took him. They all saw it happen. So, if you want to look into this story, there was actually a movie made about him in 1995. It's called Fire in the Sky. He also goes to conventions. He made his own convention called Skyfire Summit. Travis Walton, he'll go around and talk at these conventions, and I mean, he still sticks to the same story. It's never changed since 1975.
Oh, wow.
And I think he's been given other polygraph tests too, and he's never failed. So I believe it.
I wonder what they did to him though. Like,
I don't know. Ran some tests on him. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe to see like how the human body works, or like how different we are from them, or I don't know.
I saw something sometime. I don't remember where I saw it or what it was, but this man was saying that, like a scientist or something, he's saying that he thinks that human beings, us, were actually started as like an alien species, right? But we're not as advanced as aliens. And that way back, thousands of years, the aliens took off the less advanced species from their planet, wherever they are, and they dumped us on Earth. So when we see UFOs and people claim to be abducted, that maybe they're coming back to just check in on us, just popping in to check in to see what we're doing and like run tests on us to see if we are advancing. And I'm just going to say right now, based off this current situation, we are not advancing. We're not smart.
Where are the flying cars?
These freaking aliens are flying through on their UFOs like, look at this shit show. Like we're destroying ourselves.
That's super scary though. It's like being abducted and you don't know what kind of test they did on you.
Yeah. And have you ever seen where people like get abducted, they say that they have like chips implanted in them and stuff?
Oh no.
I believe it. I think I believe it.
I believe it.
The next famous, this one is very famous. The next famous incident is the Phoenix Lights, or the lights over Phoenix. So this happened March 13th, 1997. This occurrence was widely cited by hundreds of thousands of people, all the way from Nevada to Tucson, Arizona. Oh no, actually further south in Sonora, Mexico. There was also reports of these lights. So it went all that way from Nevada to Mexico, where there are sightings of a craft on March 13th, 1997. the reports started to come in around 7:30 at night. And there's varying descriptions of these lights, but the general consensus is it was amber colored lights in a V shape, and that it was a craft that was traveling very low and slow and just gliding from Nevada. It came down north, basically almost along, anybody that's familiar with Arizona, I-17. So that's straight up, goes up to northern Arizona. And it just kind of glided through the valley and down south through Tucson into Sonora, Mexico, where sightings stopped.
Wow.
So many people saw this. 911 was getting flooded with phone calls. And these phone calls came from doctors, retired police officers, scientists. People were freaking out. They didn't know what was happening, but everybody said that you could see an outline of a V-shaped craft with amber on it. Amber color lights just gliding over the valley. And there's a couple of people, I think, based off of this, that you can put some credit to it. Do you know the actor Kurt Russell? He's married to Goldie Hawn. He is a licensed pilot. Kurt Russell was flying an aircraft into Phoenix that night with his son on board, and they were supposed to land at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Upon arrival, he was about 30 minutes out, he said, he saw the amber colored lights. And at first he said he was kind of like, he felt almost mesmerized by it. And his son was like, Dad, what is that? And he was like, I have no idea. So he called into air traffic control and said, hey, I don't think there's supposed to be any other planes in my path and I'm supposed to land. What do I do? And air traffic control told him they didn't see anything on radar. This craft did not show up on radar. Multiple people there from Phoenix International Airport, the different varying Air Force bases that we have here, it was not on radar. So he said he landed without incident, but he has told his story in several interviews on television that he witnessed the light that night.
That's crazy.
So this incident, I actually didn't realize this until recently, but this incident was actually broken down into two occurrences that night. The first occurrence was the V craft that many people saw gliding over the valley. And then there's a old, I'm not sure what you would call it, where they used to do a lot of testing in the southern part of Arizona. So there's like South Mountain, there's Estrella Mountain Range. There was also lights spotted over the mountain ranges, and they were like twinkling. So one, they would be on, one would go off, like a couple would go off and then come back on. Like they were doing different things. So this happened about 2 hours after the first craft was seen flying over the valley. And the Air Force was quick to say, oh, all the lights were us. Everything was us. We were dropping flares that night. We were doing tests and everything was flares. But
that's what they always say.
I think from other reports that are associated with this, everybody says that they saw fighter jets scrambling when the first report started to come in about the first aircraft. Fighter jets from Montham Air Force Base and Luke Air Force Base scrambled and went towards this craft. So this is my theory. I think that they were like, oh, like something's happening. We have to make up an excuse. We've got to do something. So I think possibly the second occurrence that night was related to the Air Force. I think that they threw something together really fast to say, oh, yeah, it was all us. That was one of our aircraft. It's top secret. It's a top secret aircraft, and we were just doing some testing. I don't believe that. I personally don't believe that is what happened, that they were doing.
But that's what they always say, though. It's like every time somebody sees like lights or like, oh, it's, you know, there's a UFO or something, the government is always saying, oh, it's the military, it's the Air Force.
Yeah, they didn't want us to panic, so they were like, "Oh, it was us. We were doing testing, and we dropped some flares. They were attached to balloons, and that's why you saw them moving in the air. They had
Yeah.
parachutes on them. That's what it was. It was over the mountain range. We did it over there." But I saw other reports where they said that the military would never do flare testing or anything like that anywhere near civilians
Yeah.
or residential neighborhoods. So I call
What
BS
if
on that one.
what if the Air Force saw like the lights and stuff, and then they were deployed to attack or like to check it out and be like, we don't know, like what that is, like, so go and check it out. And
Okay.
crazy.
I watched something else. It's a recent movie from 2015, I think, and it's called Phoenix Remembered. I'll put a link to it because now it's on YouTube. I'll put a link in the
That sounds
description.
familiar. I think I've seen that one. Like,
It's
yeah.
like sci-fi. It's half fiction, half nonfiction.
It's kind of like a documentary or something.
They film it
Ish.
like a documentary, like Blair Witch almost, where it's from the people's point of view, right? But it's a lot of sci-fi mixed in. So it's about that night. And I'm going to look into this more because I had never heard this story. But if it is actually true, I'm going to do a video on it. So this movie is about 4 guys that go out riding their ATVs in the Estrella mountain range that night of the Phoenix Lights. And they've never been seen since. They disappeared. No trace. Oh, I'm sorry. Bone fragments were found of them, but that's it. So in the movie, it's hypothesized that they saw too much, that they actually witnessed the craft and they witnessed the Air Force shoot the craft down, like get into active battle with it. And maybe they saw too much and they had to disappear, or they were killed in whatever took place between the military and the aircraft. So I'm going to look into this more. If it's an actual missing story case of 4 guys, I'm doing a video on it. I'm going to look into it though, because I saw it while I was doing research for this, and I was like, I didn't know about this. I had no idea.
And they're still missing?
They're still
in
missing.
the video?
Well, bone fragments have been found, and they've been declared dead. So
so they didn't test the bone fragments?
I mean, they did and said it was theirs, but who's to say that? Because what if they got abducted by that craft? What if that's what really happened to them? Right?
There's so much cover up, it's like, just tell us.
I'm totally going to look into that one. So this next thing that I read, I had never heard either, because I've always been obsessed with Phoenix Lights. Like, I've watched, if you go on YouTube, there's videos from that night, and it's just so unfortunate. It was 1997. We didn't have cell phones back then, so people were using their camcorders to record it, and a lot of the footage is very grainy. There's not super good footage of it, but there is footage out there of what people saw that night, and I've watched probably all of it. There's one lady, she was actually a doctor, and she saw it from her home in Paradise Valley, I think it was, or Scottsdale. She was so entranced by this, because she's like, I know what I saw. I'm not crazy. I know what I saw. She retired from medicine, and her whole life is about Phoenix Lights now. She goes to the conventions that happen here. There's conventions every year about Phoenix Lights.
Yeah.
She has written books about it. She is in it. She no longer practices medicine. Her life is finding out about UFOs and aliens. So I've watched some interviews with her, and it's pretty interesting because she's like, don't tell me I didn't see what I saw. So that leads me to the next thing that I discovered that I had no idea about. So back then, our governor's name was Fife Symington. And a few days after, I believe this wasn't an attempt to quiet the story down and, get people to stop talking about it. They held a press conference. And in the press conference, he said, oh, we found who it was, and we've taken him into custody. And they had somebody come out dressed like an alien, like really, comical, like dramatized, like a shiny suit and a big alien head. And they made a big joke about it, and he took pictures with the person in the costume, and that's when the military spoke and said, oh, it was us, we did it, we were shooting off flares that were attached to balloons, and that was a top secret aircraft that everybody saw, nothing to see here, right? So apparently years later, in 2007, Fife Simonton was no longer the governor in Arizona. He actually, in an interview, admitted himself that he saw the Phoenix night lights that night. He saw the lights himself, and he said it was otherworldly. These are his exact words, because he was in the military. So he said, I'm a pilot. I know just about every machine that flies. It was bigger than anything I had ever seen. It remains a great mystery. Other people saw it, responsible people. I don't know why people would ridicule it. But he said it was enormous and inexplicable. Who knows what it came from or where it came from? And a lot of people saw it, and I saw it too. It was dramatic, and it couldn't have been flares because it was too symmetrical. It was a geometric outline, a consistent shape. He also noted that, although not in the public eye, he requested information from the commander of Luke Air Force Base and the general of the National Guard, the head of the Department of Public Safety, and nobody would contact him. Nobody would answer his questions. It was all kind of just like, hush, hush, you don't ask questions about it, you just let it go. Don't talk about it. So what bothered me was when he did that press conference and you posed for pictures with that alien, were you just doing your job as the governor? Like, you made fun of all the residents of this state who were coming forward saying they saw what they saw, and you turned it into something comical, and you made fun of them. And when you yourself had seen it as well. So I don't know, maybe that's not the popular thing to do, especially as a governor, to say,
no,
hey,
or maybe that's what he was told to do from the upper up, you know? I mean, you never know. Maybe deep down inside, he's like, I know what I saw. But then again, you know, somebody much higher than him said, hey, you know what? No questions asked. This is what you're supposed to say, and this is what you're going to do.
Yeah, you're going to go out there and do a press conference, and it's going to be comical and funny, and you're going to laugh, and you're going to post for pictures with somebody dressed up like an alien, and you're going to keep your mouth shut. That's crazy that they did this whole press conference to make it, you know, so funny. And basically,
wait, so in that press conference, when that dude dressed up in like alien or whatever, like is that just like for show or something, just to be like, oh yeah, we caught an alien, this is a joke? Or were they saying like, oh, this is the guy that was terrorizing or, you know, pulling a prank or something?
No, like as a joke. Like, oh, everybody said it was a UFO and it was aliens, and you guys were right. Look, we got one of them. Here's one of the aliens. It's so funny. It was really the Air Force Base doing tests. That's what it was. You guys didn't see anything. So there's actually a councilwoman. She launched her own investigation into it because she had seen the lights herself, and she discovered in 700 witnesses, only 700, not even the thousands of people who saw it. She said not a single person had been interviewed or talked to by the government about what they saw that night. It was just like, it's a huge cover-up. I think it's a cover-up. I believe it. I really, really believe it. And there's something else I was reading which kind of led me, because I knew I wanted to talk about Phoenix Lights because I've been obsessed with it since I was about to turn 16 years old in 1997. Last year in 2019, there was over 220 credible reported sightings of UFOs over Arizona. So there's this website that I found. I'll link it in the description box also, so you can read some of the descriptions. So it's broken down by state, and apparently the top ones will get posted on this website where you can kind of read what the people saw. And these sightings are not just in rural areas. They're in highly populated, like Phoenix, Mesa, Glendale, big cities. And it's crazy things. I mean, maybe some could be asteroids, like, or, you know, pieces of whatever flying in from space, how it'll like kind of explode in the gases, like when you see a shooting star. But people say they've seen glowing balls of blue light, green light, floating across the sky. They say it doesn't streak like a shooting star, it kind of glides. And it goes, and there's also, like, I was looking at this website, you can break it down when you're doing your description of what you saw, like from chevron shape, triangle shape, tic-tac shape, like oval, saucer-like. And I mean, they're saying that last year, those sightings are more than any that they've ever experienced over Arizona.
Yeah.
And I was thinking too, like, you know, when they say northern Arizona, like around Flagstaff and Sedona, it's supposed to be it's very spiritual up there. It's said to be a spiritual vortex where there's a lot of high vibrations and energy. And I just kind of wonder, like, I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
Maybe, or maybe they're like attracted to it, you know, like whatever energy it is that's up there. So something's, but I think I kind of remember like my sister-in-law mentioning something about like the lights or whatever. Like it's kind of vague, like I like vaguely remember it, but I think they were driving or something and then they saw like just some weird lights like up in the mountains or something last year in 2019. So I was like, oh my gosh, where were we? Why didn't we like see it? We're always inside the house.
I'm always inside the house, and that's what makes me mad. I need to go hang outside at night more and look at the sky. I want to see something.
We're always inside the house.
Yeah. There's video too. Someone caught some, people say the lights came back in 2007 and 2008, and there's actually really good video of one of those occurrences, and it is clearly what people described from 1997. It looks like a V-shaped craft, but it didn't only have amber colored lights on there. It had like blue and stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I believe it. I'm a believer. I think it's a cover-up.
I think so.
I mean,
I don't know. Maybe the government do have their reasons as to why they're trying to not, you know, tell the public or something. Maybe because some people are gonna panic, or who knows.
They're gonna go buy all the toilet paper again.
Right?
I mean, I guess people would panic.
No, the thing is, like, I want to know though. It's like I want to know what's out there at least.
I think it's probably too much. I think it's probably too much for the general public to know, because I think that people would lose their ish if they actually heard the truth and the details. I think people could not. I think that this society, people could not handle the actual truth.
I think so, yeah. But it's crazy. What was that? Was it last year or something? That guy that posted something on Facebook
to storm Area 51?
Yeah. Like,
I would have been there.
Area 51 or something. And surprisingly, a lot of people, you know, like signed the petition, or like, they were, and I think they showed up.
They did show up, but not a lot, because I mean, I think the government actually released a statement like, if you come here and you try to come on the grounds, we will shoot and kill you. You will die.
Yeah. So I think what they did is they had like a little concert or something.
Yeah, instead. They turned it into a concert with vendors and, you know. But if I wasn't a mom,
it started as a joke. The guy, I forgot his name.
Huh. If I wasn't a mom, I would have gone. I totally would have been there. I would have been all for storming Area 51.
I know, right? Face. Like, let's go. I want to know. I want to see.
You would have seen my dumb face on TV, like, I'm gonna go catch them aliens.
Oh my god. But
Mama, that's my story of Travis Walton and the Phoenix Lights from 1997. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like it. Please like it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
And also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so that every time we upload, you guys will get notified. And if you guys want to stalk us, you guys can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Moms on Crime. And also you can email us if you guys have any stories or whatever that you guys want us to talk about at momsoncrime@gmail.com. And that's what we have for today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Bye, guys.
Bye.